Hey guys, welcome back to another DebMapB video. I'm here today to do a remarkable reads video as promised on the book Never Split the Difference. That's going to help you take your communication skills and negotiation skills to a whole new level. This book is so great if you're into psychology or want to get an edge socially in your life, wherever that may be. Negotiating with your boss, or negotiating with your girlfriend, or negotiating with your family, or negotiating with your landlord, or whatever situation it may be, this is the book for that situation, and I'm gonna tell you why. The author of this book has been a negotiator in the FBI and has also taught negotiation skills and communication skills at Harvard. So this guy doesn't play around. In the beginning of the book, the author tells the reader to stop outputting as much information and start inputting information in arguing situations or in negotiation situations. So instead of outputting what you want, your request, what you think, start inputting what the other party thinks and what they want and what they need and what they feel. And then you come with your ideas, your suggestions, and your part of the conversation. So listen first and act later. Most of us act first, and it just winds up being a situation where both parties have a lot on their mind and just keep talking to each other because they both have a lot to say. And no one feels like the other party is actually listening because the other party is also trying to output their ideas and trying to improve the situation to their benefit and not to both people's benefit. So, and the author does that really well. And it really, I got kind of mind blown when I read the book or heard the book through Audible. And it really just sets up the book's core so well before continuing into the content. Now, before I continue, I just want to tell you guys, if you want to start listening to audiobooks through Audible like I do, you can get 2 free books while signing up for a membership through the link below. So click that right now if you want to start educating yourself while getting some tan or while riding the bus or just, chilling out this summer. Anyway, the author talks a lot about the part of the brain that's called the amygdala. And what the amygdala does is that it projects fear, but it can also project safety and the feeling of being heard. And most of us communicate a lot through what the amygdala has to say. So once you feel heard and feel like the other party is listening, you become more open to suggestions. So basically, the core content of this book revolves around how to discover information in a conversation, discover barriers that may prevent you from getting that raise or getting that benefit in your relationship or getting that benefit in your family. And then disarming those barriers through the information that you've discovered. Because everyone has this subconscious person in our heads that in our conversation goes off and tells us what we feel, what we like to say, and what we'd like to do. Now, if you let a person empty all their thoughts and their subconscious minds, you'll discover a lot of information and discover a lot of barriers that may prevent you from getting what you want, and also quieting that person in their head that the other party has, so that it becomes complete silent. That they feel like they've said everything they needed to say. And when that happens, you probably have enough information to make a move. If you don't believe that this way of thinking works when it comes to arguments and negotiation situations, I'm going to prove you wrong or persuade you otherwise by teaching you 3 key points that you can use in such a situation. And these are all 3 things that he mentions in the book. So the first thing you have to do is become an active listener. And that's quite obvious, because if you want to discover information, you have to let the other party talk. You have to let the other party express what they feel. You have to let the other party empty all the thoughts they have in their subconscious. That little person that's talking, make that person go quiet. Now, listening is not that hard. It's just shutting your mouth and focusing on what they have to say. But becoming an active listener can be a little bit tricky, and you have to use the right words and the right tone. I don't have enough time in this video to go through the different tones that you can use when you're negotiating. So if you're interested in that, leave a comment below and I might make another video about that, but otherwise you'll just have to pick up the book. So 3 things. The first thing, it is kind of 2 things, but it has the same effect. And what the first thing is silence. You have to learn how to use silence and become a mirror. And what that means is that you should mirror what they're saying back at them so that they elaborate on what they're thinking or what they're saying. So you get more information on the topic that they're on. So once you hit a very sensitive topic that may lead to something and not really, not hurt them and not too sensitive in that way, but information that may lead you to the right outcome, then you start pushing at that point and discovering more information that may lead you to making a request that gives you your desired outcome. Naturally, silence. When you go silent and just stare at the person, just look at it and be calm. Don't look like a freaking serial killer when you do it. Just be quiet and let the silence sink in. The person naturally starts talking more or starts elaborating on what they're saying. And sometimes, if you're unlucky, they don't have more to say. They don't want to say more, and they start looking at you weird. But that's very rare, very rare. Naturally, silence leads to more conversation from the other person, because just standing silent in 20 seconds is uncomfortable for most people. And the other thing to make them elaborate is mirrors. And what I mean by mirrors is taking the most interesting part of their last sentence and asking it as a question. So I'm going to give you an example. So you're at a flight desk, you missed your flight, you want seats at a new flight, and the flight attendant has just handled a very difficult couple. You come forward, you smile, you say hi, and you ask why the couple was upset, and you try to get into the conversation before you make a request, make the person feel heard. And then maybe the flight attendant says, well, they missed their flight that went at 2 p.m. and we're canceling a lot of flights right now. And then you say, oh, you're canceling a lot of flights right now? See what you did there? You took the last part of your sentence that was interesting, that may be connected to your situation because you want to get on a flight and you want to know more, you want to discover more information. So you say, oh, you're canceling flights right now? And she starts elaborating on the situation. And at the same time as you're discovering information, she's feeling heard. And when a person feels listened to, they become more open to suggestion and genuinely feel like you are a good person and really, want something good. So you gain influence, good influence on people when they feel like they've been listened to. And you're listening, you're discovering a lot of information. So once you discover a lot of information using mirrors and silence, you can now start making assumptions. Now, to make assumptions is quite tricky, and you have to watch your language because it might come out as criticism or just, awkwardly said sentences that may offend the other person. So making assumptions is you have to do it really, really subtle, really subtle. And the reason is you need confirmation on your thought of the situation. So if you need to know if you've interpreted the information correctly so that you can make your move and make your request to get on that flight that you want to get onto or get that raise from your boss. So here we go. The author calls this labels in the books. So making assumptions is called labels. So you label the person in order to know and confirm if your information is correct. So for example, to this flight attendant, you could say, you seem upset. And that's how you phrase it. You seem upset. How come? And you just keep doing that. Don't say you are upset, or I can see that you are upset. Well, I can see that you are upset is kind of okay, but just make it light. Just say you seem like. So it's not like a definitive, it's more like a vague observation that you've made that's nicely being said in order to make her elaborate more and confirm the information that you've observed during the situation. So just label and get confirmation on your information that you've discovered. And sometimes when you label people, they elaborate even more on the situation, on why it's not like that. Sometimes they just confirm and they elaborate, and sometimes they reject and elaborate why. Both cases are good because you get more information, and the more information you get, the more material you have in order to make your request. Because the more you know, the better you can ask for what you want, and the more you can know the probability of getting what you want. So information does not only give you more material to make your request, it also gives you a vague idea of the probability of getting what you want. So as you may have noticed, I'm not the best at expressing what I've just learned, and that's just because it's so fresh. But I hope that you can take a couple of things from this video and really get into trying out new communication skills and maybe picking up this book to improve your negotiation and communication skills. Now, we got number 1, mirrors and silence to discover information. And number 2, we got labels or assumptions that will help you confirm or deny information and also discover more information by them elaborating why they're confirming or why they're rejecting your assumption. And then lastly, the last part of this, in this three simple key step things, is request. And that's when you have enough information, that is when you make your request. Now you have to formulate your request in a very fine and delicate way, and I can't teach that. I'm sorry, my communication skills aren't that good yet, especially in English. I'm not at that level just yet, so I can't help you on formulating the request. However, I can say this: you will need to know and identify the barriers of why you can't get what you want and get the information around it to then formulate something that will disarm those barriers and use the information you've gotten in a way that will get your desired outcome. When you got all your information and such, and you've done your labels, make your request, but make it in a natural way. So try to steer the conversation a little bit towards your request so you can make it. So try to take the conversation to whatever area that you're focusing on right now, whether that is your salary or other benefits in your family, and so on and so forth. I don't know what you will do with this new knowledge. However, I wish you use it nicely. I will practice it as much as I can to improve my leadership skills, because as a leader, you need to give your colleagues and your partners and your teams what they want. And in order to know what they want, you have to pick their brains a little bit. And if I can give everyone I work with, partners, other businesses, and my colleagues, what they want, then I have succeeded, because everyone will be satisfied with dealing with me, because they will feel like they get what they want in whatever pursuit they deal with me. So that's my focus on using this knowledge, and try to find a focus point for you. Tell me what your focus point is. DM me, comment below, and I'll see if I get some interesting points that I maybe want to build my communication skills around, and maybe get some new areas where I can apply my new communication and negotiation skills. All right, that's it for this Remarkable Reads video. I hope you enjoyed, I hope you learned something, and I hope you're inspired to read this book, Never Split the Difference. I'll leave a link to it below, the audio version of it, and I'll also leave a link to the hard copy of it on Amazon. And I'll see you guys later this week. But until then, stay driven.